Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are on page 10 with Hine Matov, how good it is to be together tonight. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, yalalai, yalalalalai. Hine Matov, yalalai, yalalalalai. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so good to be together to celebrate Shabbat. And this is our first Shabbat service outside here at the Irmas Campus of the season. It is wonderful to be enjoying this space with all of you. I'm Rabbi Leah Fein. I am joined on the bima by our Rabbinic intern, Lisa Friedman. We are so glad you are here. Susan Rosenstein is our music director, and we also have our musicians, Ava, Ashley, and Hope. Thank you all for being here. Does anybody know how many people Jewish tradition requires for prayer, for a minyan? Okay, I see a lot of people holding up hands like this. All right, 10 people, and that number comes from this week's Parsha. So the whole idea of us being together, we started with Hine Matov. The reason we are gathered here together in prayer, in celebration of Shabbat as a community, is because of this week's Parsha, which refers to the Israelite community as an Eidah. And so the rabbis 2,000 years ago look at this word Eidah, and they notice that the very same word comes up in the book of Psalms. In Psalm 82, it says, Elohim nitzav be'adat el, that God stands in the divine community. So as we are here today in our minyan, in our community, we feel that connection to our people, past, present, and future. So I'll invite you to turn to the people around you, turn to the community, the minyan around you, say Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself. And as we welcome one another, there's going to be so much time for schmoozing later at the Oneg. We are also going to welcome in our Shabbat angels with Shalom Alechem on page 26.
Page 24.
Shalom Alechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Kadosh Baruch Hu, Bohem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We officially begin Shabbat with candle lighting, and we have many celebrations in our community this week. We are, after Shabbat, celebrating the wedding of Jonathan and Masha, so I'll invite you up to light candles. Ava and your family, Ava is celebrating becoming a bat mitzvah. Parker is celebrating becoming a bar mitzvah. Jake is celebrating becoming a bar mitzvah. And Jake also graduated from Browerman in that chapel just yesterday. So I'll invite you up with your families to light Shabbat candles for our community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We've reached the moment in which we greet the Sabbath bride, Lichadodi. This liturgical song is full of stunning imagery, and one of my favorite visuals that we are provided with is in verse 2, where Shabbat is referred to as a forever fountain of blessing. Here we are, gathering for our first outdoor service of the summer. Can you feel it? Can you feel that breeze moving through the trees? Can you feel that sunshine setting down towards the clouds? Can you feel that energy stemming from each individual praying together? Take it in as we turn to pages 20 and 21 for Lichadodi, chanting verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, I'll invite you to rise if you're able as we face the entrance to our space that way to greet the Sabbath bride. And then we'll turn back around for our last Lichadodi together. Now let's all take a breath and reflect on the blessings that we each have flowing as we enter Shabbat with Lichadodi, page 20.
Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem tiferet v'litchila. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, mirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech kumi uri, shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. And we turn toward the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha u'sohola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lichadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
You can be seated. Just as Lichadodi welcomes in Shabbat as a bride, we also welcome a bride and a groom who are among us here tonight. I'll invite up Masha and Jonathan, who are celebrating their wedding tomorrow night at our Rabbinic campus. And I feel so fortunate that I have been able to get to know them over the past several months. You are such remarkable members of our community. You are remarkable as individuals and as a couple. And we are so, so blessed that you are part of our community. You can read this blessing.
Our souls are bound to one to the other with bonds of love and mutual devotion. As our sages taught, a person should find a partner with whom to eat, drink, read, study, sleep, and share every secret, secrets of Torah and secrets of life. We shall be loving partners for each other and will cherish, respect, sustain, and assist one another in righteousness and faithfulness. With God's help, may the home we build together be filled with love and harmony, peace and companionship. May we be privileged to together nurture our Jewish heritage and the dignity of every creature.
The Talmud teaches us, stay up here, that you cannot go to your chuppah without a blessing. And so we have a blessing that we'd like to offer you. May God, who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bestow blessing upon Jonathan and Masha, who are soon to enter into the holy covenant of marriage. As they stand here this evening in the strong embrace of their community, so may they always stand side by side as they strengthen and sanctify their love for each other. God, teach them that the deepest meaning of love is to share life's trials as well as life's joys. Enable them to understand that their union must be founded on righteousness and truth, on kindness and mercy, on patience. May they establish a home of loyalty and love, of holiness and peace, a place where their family can grow in health and happiness, in the knowledge of Torah, in the practice of good deeds. And let us say, Amen. Jonathan and Masha, to you and to all of your family and friends who are here with us tonight and who will continue to celebrate with you this weekend, we say Mazel Tov.
Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov,
Mazel Tov. We now rise for the Baruch Hu. We are on page 28. We'll remain standing for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated unless your name is Ava, Jake, or Parker. Come on up. You are leading us in V'ahavta. We are on page 36.
כל מאודיך, וחיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושבנת לבניך ודיברתם בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, ובשרתם לאהוב על ידיך, לחיוב וטוטפות בין עיניך, ובטחתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
Yasher Koach to our B'nai Mitzvah. Your families are living out the mitzvah that you just chanted for us of passing down our tradition to one's children. And the last paragraph that you chanted, this paragraph that starts with Lama'an, is the very last paragraph of this week's Parsha. And the context that it comes up in is the context of talking about affixing tzitzit, affixing fringes to the four corners of one's garment. And the text says that you are supposed to look at these tzitzit because looking at them will remind you of mitzvot, which will then lead to doing mitzvot. And so that we hope as you become B'nai Mitzvah this Shabbat and next Shabbat, we hope that as you are surrounded in your tzitzit, you feel that sense of surroundedness of your tradition, of your people, and inspired to do the many mitzvot that we know are ahead on your journey. Mazel tov to all of you and to your families. We'll continue with Mi Chamocha. We're on page 40.
Yai lai la, yai la 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 la, yai lai la, ya lai la 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 la, ya lai la la, ya lai la 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 la, yai lai lai la, yai lai lai la la. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo tosef ele, nora tehilo tosef ele, malechutecha ra'u banecha, bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeh li'anu ve'amru, zeh li'anu ve'amneru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Hashkivenu is on page 44. Ooh, Hashkivenu is on page 42. And if you look at the middle of the prayer, there is one line that says, Uvitzel knafecha tastirenu. It talks about God using the shade of God's wings to spread over all of Israel and all of humanity as this divine protection. And this word sel, this word for shade, comes up over and over again, including in this week's Parsha, to describe God protecting us. And we feel it especially on this first Erev Shabbat, that we get to be together outside. We imagine, too, what the Israelites who were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years must have felt from the oppressive sun and elements that they were exposed to, and the blessing of something so simple as shade, and really feeling that connection to the divine and feeling that sense of protection. Hashkivenu is on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom, V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu Lechayim, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We rise now as the ark is open for the Amidah, beginning on page 46. We will chant page 46 together and then continue with our own silent meditations.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. You may be seated. Please join with me on page 62 for Yehiyu Liratzon, asking God to hear our prayers.
Yehiu liratzon imre fi v'hegyon libi lifanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali Adonai tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock, my redeemer. Yehu liratzon imre fi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali Adonai tzuri v'goali.
In a moment, we will have the opportunity to offer a Mishaberach, a prayer for healing, for anyone we know, for anyone in our world, maybe even for ourselves, anyone in need of physical, spiritual, emotional, or mental healing. From our community, we are offering a Mishaberach for Cynthia Allen, Bonnie Chiswick, Chaim Dovid, Dahlia Bat Farangi, Harvey Fein, Juliet Gottfried, Karina Wallen Harar, Cindy Jacobson, Ann Peterson, Stephen Richland, Quincy Rose, Robert Bob, David Rudnick, Brenda Schwartz, Ansel Sloan, Shraga Stern, Deborah Wallen, Don Weiss, Phyllis Kramer-Wolf, Manushur Yehubian, Saeed Mayer Udim. We also keep in our hearts the names of anyone else who might need a refuah shlema as we turn to the Mishaberach on page 253.
Mikor habrecha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Earlier this week, we took our kids to Disneyland for the very first time. And on the drive home, our son kept repeating one of his favorite parts of the entire day, seeing the blue bear. My husband and I were completely confused by this. He'd met Mickey and Minnie, seen all the classic Disney characters he loves, and experienced the magic of Disneyland for the first time, but he kept coming back to this blue bear. It took my husband and I racking our brains and going through the entire day, minute by minute, in our heads, just to figure out what blue bear he was even talking about. And eventually, I sort of remembered briefly seeing a blue bear dancing at the front of a parade. I must have noticed a blue bear and immediately forgotten about it. But for him, that blue bear was the highlight of his day. Together, our family watched the same parade from the same spot at the same moment, but what each of us carried away from that experience was entirely different. We all know that life, too, often works in that exact same way. Two people who live through the same event, witness the same facts, still come away with completely different stories about what happened and what it meant, completely different ideas about whom to vote for, completely different opinions about what deserves our attention and concern, and how we might move forward. And that is the story of this week's Parsha, Shlach Lecha. Moses sends 12 people, one from each tribe, to scout the promised land, the land that they have been journeying towards since they left Egypt. Moses gives the group of scouts simple and straightforward instructions. They must go see the land, assess its strengths and weaknesses, and then report back to the people. And the scouts go off. They go, see the same land, they observe the same cities, they encounter the same inhabitants, and they return with the same evidence in hand, a cluster of grapes so large that it takes 2 people to carry it. But even though they see the exact same thing, they have 2 very different experiences and tell 2 very different stories. 10 of the scouts focus on the obstacles, the fortified cities, the giant, strong people, and they conclude that the Israelites cannot possibly succeed in conquering this land. But 2 of the scouts, Caleb and Joshua, come back with a different story to tell. They do not dispute the facts of the fortified cities or the giants, but they still confidently insist that the people should move forward despite the challenges ahead. But tragically, the Israelites listen to the fearful majority instead of to Caleb and Joshua. More fear spreads quickly through the Israelite camp, so much so that they cry throughout the night, even wishing that they were back in Egypt. God understandably is furious. The Israelites seem to have either forgotten or no longer care about the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea, the redemption they experienced from Egypt, the revelation at Mount Sinai. And so Moses does what he always does when God gets angry at the people. He intervenes and pleads on their behalf. So instead of God completely destroying the Israelites, as God initially wanted to do, God settles for a different consequence. The generation that left Egypt will not be permitted to enter the promised land. And instead, they'll wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Of that generation, only Joshua and Caleb will live to cross the Jordan River and fulfill the promise that started with Abraham. As I was reading Shlach Lecha this week, I noticed something that I had never paid attention to before, how much this parsha echoes my bat mitzvah parsha, Lech Lecha, from early on in the book of Genesis. The most obvious connection is in their names, Lech Lecha, go for yourself, and Shlach Lecha, send for yourself. In both stories, the emphasis on this word lecha, for yourself, really emphasizing that personal action. In Lech Lecha, God calls Abraham to leave everything familiar and begin a journey. And in Shlach Lecha, Moses sends the scouts to explore the land for themselves. The experience can't be outsourced to anyone else. It must be personally lived. A second connection between the two parshiot is with the land itself. In Lech Lecha, God tells Abraham to lift up his eyes and look at the land that will one day belong to his descendants. And in Shlach Lecha, generations later, the scouts are instructed to look at that same land. The promise and the land are the same, but what's changed is the people's ability to imagine themselves living within it. And finally, both portions include a name change. Avram becomes Avraham or Abraham, Sarai becomes Sarah or Sarah, and Hosea becomes Yehoshua or Joshua. In the Torah, a new name signifies a new identity. Each of these figures have their names changed by receiving a letter from God's most sacred name, suggesting that stepping into the future requires transformation, a connection beyond ourselves to help us find our unique purpose. I don't think that these connections between Lech Lecha of Genesis and Shlach Lecha of Numbers are in any way accidental. Perhaps the Torah is even nudging us toward noticing their similarities and seeing these two parshiot as really in conversation with one another. One is the beginning of the Jewish story, rooted in promise and possibility, while the other tests whether Abraham's descendants can still see that possibility when the future finally stands before them. In our Parsha Shlach Lecha, all 12 scouts see the land, but they do not carry home the same story. 10 see danger and allow their fear to define everything. Joshua and Caleb see danger too, but they also remember the larger story of transformation, of purpose, of Abraham. Because they know where the story comes from, they can still imagine where it might take them. That same challenge is also ours today. Fear, of course, is all too real. We all know this, that there is plenty in our lives, in our country, in Israel, in the world that gives us much to worry about, to cry throughout the night about. But our Torah insists that fear cannot ever be our primary guide. To be Jewish is to hear the call of Lech Lecha even when we find ourselves in the crisis of Shlach Lecha. It's to remember that even though uncertainty is unavoidable, paralysis from that uncertainty is not. We can't always choose what appears before us, but of course we do choose what to carry forward. The same parade can become a memory of the expected characters or of a random blue bear. The same land can become a story of giants, or a story of abundant grapes, of opportunity. From Abraham to Joshua and Caleb and onward to us, ours has been a people that moves ourselves forward even when fear is in view, reaching still for the possibility, the greater purpose of what lies ahead for each one of us on our journey forward. Shabbat Shalom. I want to thank again our amazing Rabbinic intern, Lisa Friedman, Susan, our musicians, our sound facility, security, greeters, everybody, our events team, everybody who really makes this possible for our community. I also want to invite everyone to Pride Shabbat, which is coming up later this month on our Glazer campus in Koreatown. We're partnering with JQY, so I hope you will join us for that. And now as we approach the end of our service, we will rise as the ark is open for Aleinu. We are on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We have started a tradition in the past few months that before Mourner's Kaddish, before Kaddish Yatom, we invite a few of our guests here tonight who would like to stand up and share a few sentences about somebody who they are remembering this evening. So if you are here remembering a loved one, I'll come around with the microphone.
It's the 10th anniversary of my wife's passing, so it seems like a long time ago, but I mean, I met her when I was 16, she was 15, so we had a good long life together, and for that I'm grateful.
My wife and I are honoring the yard site of her dad, Robert Lewis, who we lost 22 years ago. He was a truly extraordinary man who welcomed me into his family and was a connoisseur of movies and shows and had an encyclopedic knowledge of all of those that he delighted in sharing with other people.
Yes, I'm here to say Kaddish for my mother who died 4 years ago tomorrow at the age of 99 and a half. So she had a good long life. It was not always an easy life, but she always had a positive attitude. She was funny, she was fun, and she was my best friend, and I miss her.
My mother, Margaret Weisberg, also Jonathan's grandmother, this is the 25th anniversary of her passing tomorrow. And she came to the United States when she was 20. She didn't want to come. She left her boyfriend behind in the old country, as it was said, and made a new life for herself with lots of people that she knows who are here today.
Uh, 10 years ago this week, my grandmother, Donna Goldstein, passed away. She was 99 and a half as well. And she was really the matriarch of our family, and we miss her greatly as we celebrate Parker Smiley's bar mitzvah this weekend.
Thank you all for those who shared. From our community this month, we are remembering Teresa Bettoni, Nadia Furman, Rabbi Stuart Kelman, Judith Kifferstein, Michelle Novak, Richard Rick Mark Platt, Audrey Tendler, and yahrzeits from our community during this past week. Shimon Aftalion, Sandra Aisley, Raymond Albert, Lynn Alston, Lillian Baker, Harold Band, Beverly Blay, Susan Blum, Fanny Braunstein, Theodore Brenner, Kenneth Brookman, Florence Brown, Bernard Cooper, Susan Crane, Michael Dukowski, Sarah Fields, Cy Fields, Marjorie Swito Fisher, Joseph Freeman, Alice Friedman, Marlene Friedman, Rhonda Gordon, Evelyn Greenbaum, Shayla Green, Sydney Hirsch, Louis Israels, Louis Itzkowitz, Erwin Jameson, Mary Janol, Edith Jurech, Gertrude Justman, Ben Kaplan, Edie Katz, Barbara Kaiser, Helen Klein, Leslie Klein, Nasir Kohanzadeh, Alan Koppelman, Yura Landa, Ida Lehman, Robert Leff, Ronald Leif, Robert Lewis, Stephanie Leiberger, Cyril Isaac Magnin, Minerva Mendelson, Donald Earl Marin, Melvin Morgan, Darcy Notkin, Leo Orston, Seidel Perlman, Michael Phillips, Gertrude Pollock, Richard Popkin, Blanche Isaacson Pullman, Charles Rainan, Marguerite Rissman, Herbert Rose, Sue Rosenberg, Marcia Rosanoff, Donald Rossman, Julian Sadistviash, Al Sabad, Charlotte Schwarzenberger, Lawrence Searman, Anna Siegel, Marcy Siegel, Herbert Shapiro, Evelyn Sidney, Erwin Siegel, Francis Silver, Morton Slater, Ray Slutsky, Ruth Spielberg, Marvin Steinberg, Gina Spiro, Lawrence Tapper, George Topas, Shmuel Tsang, Alice Vogel, Sarah Wagner, Jack Waldo, Arlene Weeder, Penny Winthrop, Hortense Wolf, Stephen Yanover, Sam Zelkowitz, and Jill Sue Zuboff. If I've missed any names or you're thinking about someone else tonight, feel free to share their names with us. If you are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim, the first week or 30 days of mourning, please rise. If you are in your first year of mourning, please rise. If you are here to commemorate a yahrzeit, please rise. And I'll ask everyone to rise now, to stand in strength with all who grieve and who mourn as we join together for Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yikadal v'kadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma tivrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha brichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We will conclude our service with Kiddush and Motzi together. Jonathan and Masha, come on up. Ava and your family, Parka and your family, and Jake and your family, come on up to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. We are so grateful that all of you are here tonight. Our first Shabbat outside, and almost every chair was taken. Thank you for being here and being the strength of our community. Shabbat Shalom.
Let's raise our glasses for Kiddush. Here we go. Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu. V'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereishit ki hu yom tehila lemikraye kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidasha mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim. You can take a sip, enjoy. Okay, so now comes the ancient tradition, straight from the Torah, of the halapul. Okay, so Jonathan and Masha, you're over here. Jake and Eva. Okay, and Parker, you get one side. Okay, and everyone needs space. Okay, so bring it over. Okay, so each of you is going to hold one side. Lisa's going to say the blessing, and then you're going to pull. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Mazal tov. Shabbat shalom.
Susan, that thing I gave you, those are what all my singer friends swear by? Oh, I know. Oh, you know about those. Okay.